There were even rumours that the president didn't like the fact that Sean Spicer had become so high profile, which is why one of the reasons we understand why recently those cameras have been turned off the actual podium in the White House, although we are expecting a briefing on camera today, unusually, in about an hour's time. But of course, as you can imagine, newsrooms across the country here, across the world, I think, are now scrambling to put together Sean Spicer's greatest hits. He was gaffe prone. He was known for sometimes going a little bit too far in his defence of the president, but he was certainly a loyalist, right in the firing line. And really, towards the end of his appearances on camera, he was playing to an audience of one, a very hard to please audience of one, which was Donald Trump. Let's take a look at some of his best bits.
This was the largest audience to ever witness an inauguration, period, both in person and around the globe. Even the New York Times printed a photograph showing that a misrepresentation of the crowd in the original tweet in their paper, which showed the full extent of the support, depth, and crowd and intensity that existed. These attempts to lessen the enthusiasm of the inauguration are shameful and wrong. It's an honor to do this, and yes, I believe that we have to be honest with the American people. I think sometimes we can disagree with the facts. There are certain things that we may not fully understand when we come out, but our intention is never to lie to you, Jonathan.
Of course I have regrets, and I have spent my life, whether it's in the military or civilian side, looking at an event. How can you make a good event better? How can you take an event that didn't go as well better? What did you do well? How do you sustain that? How do you look better? So I do, from a daily briefing to a rollout of a legislative item, we look back on a daily basis. What did we do really well? How do we make sure that we keep the good? And of the things that didn't go so well, how do we improve that, whether it's process or policy or substance? What can we be doing better to drive the president's message out? That's something that we're constantly reevaluating, and I think that's what the hallmark of a good organization is.
So Sean Spicer now leaving that role as White House press secretary, and certainly couldn't be accused of not doing the job that really he was put in there for, which is to defend a very controversial president. Very often some very challenging things to defend, not least on Twitter. Very often the official White House line on something would then be completely contradicted by Donald Trump himself on Twitter. And so much so that it became a catchphrase of Sean Spicer: the tweet speaks for itself, because so often it was pretty inexplicable or very hard for him in that role to explain what Donald Trump meant. Now, Donald Trump, as we know, is a TV guy. He's a former reality TV star himself. So the thinking behind this is that Donald Trump perhaps knows TV better than any other president, and thought that Sean Spicer was perhaps not entirely suitable for this role. Although there is no suggestion that he was pushed out by Donald Trump, this seems to be a decision that Sean Spicer has made himself.
Amanda, thank you. Charlie Gard's parents have suffered another blow in their battle to